The Battle of Bannockburn is so famous that anyone interested in Scottish history knows all about it, right? Well, today I've brought you to a place that you won't expect to tell you a Bannockburn story that you've probably not heard before. So if you're interested in the people, places and events in Scottish history, then click the subscribe button at the bottom right of the screen. In the meantime, let me tell you a story. This is Bannockburn. It's wine country. If that's unexpected, I know. It hasn't always been wine country. Originally, it was famous for gold mining. In fact, the changes of water sources and sluicing for mining changed the very nature of this valley. A bit like the Battle of Bannockburn altered the course of Scotland's history. In case you haven't worked it out, this Bannockburn isn't in Scotland. But the high mountainous highlands running down to clear water mean that it could be Scotland. The River Clua running nearby. That's Gaelic for River Clyde, by the way. That river runs through Alexandria, just past Galloway, all the way down to the town that the locals incorrectly pronounce Balclutha. Gaelic speakers will know it should really be called Ballaclua. Scots speakers might call it Clydetown. Over that way, Stuarttown. It's an old mining town, and now the location of one of the local vineyards. We flew over the Highland Peaks there yesterday, and yes, one of them is called Ben Nevis. Beyond it, we look down on the settlement of Glenorchy that sits in the shadow of the Nevis Range, with Ben Nevis looming large. In nearby Milford Sound, we watch tourists stare with awe, just like I do when I take them to Glencoe. So of course there's a place in New Zealand's South Island called Bannockburn, although the neighbouring town is called Cromwell. And it's a story about that clash between Scots and English that brought me here today. But it's a story that I'm guessing very few of you will know. I myself have got to thank historian Craig Connor for it. It's an odd tale that spans William Wallace's victory at Stirling Bridge through to the Battle of Bannockburn, and at its heart is a parrot called Marmaduke. Sir Marmeduke de Tweng was a Yorkshire knight with arms as outrageous as his name. His coat of arms were 3 parrots in a red stripe. Now, I know that sounds like a drinks order at a Caribbean cocktail bar, but this guy was from Yorkshire, in a Norman knighty kind of way. Marmaduke's military career isn't that well documented, but the 2 most notable events both relate to service in Scotland, where he fought against the Scots under both Edward I and Edward II. Spoiler alert, he was never that successful. In 1297, Marmaduke was in the vanguard of the English army under the Earl of Surrey at Stirling Bridge. Now, I'm not going to go into the Battle of Stirling Bridge itself here. Most Scots have heard about it, and I've already made a video about the background to the battle, sneakily called The Other William Wallace. All you need to know is that William Wallace and Andrew de Murray, the other William Wallace, allowed half a complacent English army to cross the bridge spanning the fort at Stirling before closing the trap on the salivating, cheese-munching English mice. Now, one of those cheese-munching mice was a parrot, because Polly wants her cheese with a cracker. The parrot was, of course, Marmaduke Tweng. Along with a company of knights and several thousand foot soldiers, he was caught on the north side of the river when Wallace and Murray descended from the Abbey Craig and everything went sideways for the English. We know that the English army were wiped out, but according to Walter Ginsborough's chronicle, Marmaduke was one of a handful of the vanguard who managed to escape the carnage, fighting his way back across through a throng of Scots over the bridge to safety, and he did it with 2 of his companions, one of whom was slung over Marmaduke's saddle. Now, the meat of every good story benefits from the tasty sauce of embellishment. But the fact that he survived at all is a mark of courage and skill at arms. He was made a joint Castellan of Stirling Castle and sent to hold it in the aftermath of the battle, but he and his weakened garrison were starved into submission within weeks, and Marmaduke was taken as a prisoner. He and a couple of other English knights were sent to Dumbarton Castle for safekeeping until they were ransomed, which for him took until April 1299. But this story is about Bannockburn. That's right, Marmaduke somehow managed to find himself at a second major English defeat. Although the story here isn't quite the glorious swashbuckling adventure that he demonstrated at Stirling Bridge. Just before I tell you the Bannockburn part of the story, anyone that's been watching knows that I've been touring my live show Stories of Scotland Down Under, but I've added extra dates in Auckland on the 26th of March, Cairns on the 2nd of April and Hobart, Tasmania on the 14th of April. Links for all those are in the description below. Now, Brisbane sold out, but I'm putting on an additional show in Melbourne, so I'll see you there. Now, I don't know where the phrase discretion is the better part of valour was first coined, but this was definitely an example of it. According to Barber, the great writer of the epic tale The Bruce, Marmaduke was still in the battlefield long after the English host had been routed. Maybe, like many English knights, he'd lost his horse, but he'd somehow managed to avoid drowning in the Pearlstream burn with so many others. He'd survived the porcupine spears of the Scottish Chilterns, but survival is one thing, escape is another altogether. And so, the valiant knight of Stirling Bridge discreetly hid in some bushes overnight at Bannockburn. He slipped off his armour and his surcoat and he plankied them. Now, if you're not Scottish, that means he hid them. He plankied his surcoat to conceal his identity. A green parrot outside medieval Stirling, that would have been a definite giveaway. He spent a tense night, but reached the dawn undiscovered by the Scots. Sometime the next morning, Marmaduke spotted King Robert surveying the field after his victory. This was a very different sighting to 2 nights before when Henry de Bohun saw him surveying the prospective battle. Now, if you don't know about those 2 stories that surround that particular Bannockburn tale, then I'll leave a link to my video at the end. Unlike de Bohun, Marmaduke the Parrot Man walked straight up to King Robert and bent his knee in surrender. Now, remember that Marmaduke was from Yorkshire, where the Bruce family had held most of their lands. King Robert recognised them straight away, even without a surcoat, because the Twengs had been vassals of the Bruce family in Yorkshire before the wars. In fact, Marmaduke's mother had been a Bruce from that English side of the family. Marmaduke, the old vassal, acquaintance and distant cousin to Robert, offered his surrender to the king personally, and Marmaduke dined with King Robert that very day. It's interesting, isn't it? We so often sing of valiant, glorious victory to our side, of long fought for freedom and shackles thrown off, forgetting the individual stories of courage, relief, or loss. Amongst it all, this story of the champion king giving such high honour to a vanquished foe is easily forgotten. More significantly, Robert released Marmaduke from captivity shortly afterwards. His arms and armour returned and no ransom to be paid. Sir Marmeduke de Tweng was thus the English knight at Bannockburn who got off scot-free. If you'd like more tales from Bannockburn, then there's one coming up on screen now. You can become a Patreon member and support the channel by clicking the top right or buy me a coffee in the description below. In the meantime, Hammy and Dachas can be a llama alive. Cherry and Rasta.